So, hello, it's me again. I wanted to follow up a little bit on the megalopolis city that I created using those tutorials where I used 9 tiles, the default number of tiles, and then built the city up to megalopolis from nothing. Now, I've continued on with that same city, and as you can see, I have 25 tiles now. I used the mod that allowed me to increase to 25 tiles. At this point in time, I'm taking a snapshot back a little ways. I had a population here of 284,000, and I started to run into this issue that I've seen before where, when you keep adding and adding to your city, you have to keep increasing the amount of sewage treatment plants. In this particular layout, this is the Two Rivers grid, or whatever they call it, Two Rivers layout. There's only one outlet, so you have to put your sewage treatment plants at the downflow of the water here at the end of the outlet. And I have the bare minimum, as you can see here. The sewage treatment is just barely in the green. I have the bare minimum of sewage treatment plants. Now, I'm using the mod, or the DLC called Green Cities, which allows me to have these eco water treatment plants. And they're nice. They don't do nearly as much pollution as the other ones, but they still have a little pollution. If you look at it here, it says pollution 0, but it really isn't 0, because you can see the little brown tinge in the water here. So there is a little pollution coming out of these things. And the unfortunate thing that happens, 2 things happen, as you keep increasing the number of these plants. It dumps an awful lot of water, first of all, into your river, and causes your river flow to go backwards. So I'll show you here. See, it's exiting here, as you can see by those arrows. But if you look downstream a little bit, it reverses flow and starts flowing the wrong direction. So it's pushing water back upstream in my river. And that's not a good thing. And it causes a couple of issues. One is the pollution's going this direction. The other is that it starts flooding because it overflows the river. So to mitigate the flooding, I had to add a whole bunch of these water pumps. I also added water tanks out here. They take quite a bit longer. This area was flooding, and so I put water tanks in to try to take care of some of that. But anyway, you get these issues with the river because you're dumping so much stuff back into the river here as your population grows. So I found a way to deal with this that I want to show you. So I'll exit this city and go to my latest version of this city so you can see what I've done. Okay, now what I've done here, I couldn't get the flow to completely reverse with this trick, but it did help quite a bit. So what I've done is I've dug some holes, big holes, very deep holes in the terrain here, close to the outlet area of the river. And let's look at the flow again. After I dug these holes, I'll show you what I did. So looking at the flow, it's stronger going out. It's going out this way through these canals that are in between the hole and the river. And it still reverses course, but it's not quite as strong as it was. And it's helping a bit. So using the landscape tool, this one here, and a right click, you can dig these holes. I use the largest area here. I'll just show you what that looked like. As you dig, it just starts hitting down into the ground. And you keep that up until you have a nice deep hole. You can dig a hole. And if you watch up here, it's building up soil in a soil bank. If you get to where it stops digging, it's because your soil availability is full. And that's happening right now, too much soil. And the way you can take care of that is to build up something. So go over to an area where I don't care if it gets taller, so I'm going to left click here and build up, and you can see it's using up my soil as I build it up. So I'm raising this area up in here so that I can dig more hole back in here. So as I dig down, I get a nice deep hole. So I did that here and then here, and moved my sewage treatment plants into these areas. And it's kind of interesting to watch how it works. Before I moved them in, of course, I built a canal here, and that's in the landscape tool. Over here, these are canals. There's a shallow, a medium, and a deep. I started with shallow, and that's underneath. You can't see it here. It's underneath the water. Let me run the simulation a bit so you can see the water moving. So what's happening here is there's a shallow canal underneath here, and then I just dug this out so that the water would just flow right back into the river, and it flows in and then goes downstream, which is what I wanted it to do. It's doing the same thing on this side, see. You can see the canal kind of underneath here. It's down there, and the water is flowing out. As soon as I put these sewage treatment plants in and connected the pipes and connected the power to them, the water started flowing out. And you can see where I've had flooding here. I had to raise up my railroad tracks coming into the city and get them over this canal, and just kept everything up high. And I had to also increase the dirt around here. So after I dug the hole, I raised a rim up around it so it wouldn't flood my area where I have all my trash facilities, my incinerators, and my recycle bins. So that's what it took to help alleviate my flooding problems and help to reverse the flow that was going backwards in my river. It still is going backwards, as you can see. It's kind of, you can see it flowing upstream. You can see some pollution here, but it's not as severe as it was. And so also in here, before I start pumping this water out, I didn't want that to become polluted, so I put in these treatment facilities, floating garbage collectors they call them. And then I also tried to make a little jetty here that sticks out into the river to prevent the worst of the pollution. You can see it here, the brown, from getting into this area where it's pumping out so that it wouldn't pollute my water supply. So that's what I've done to mitigate this. This hole here, by the way, was trying to get rid of some of the flooding that was going on. Hole in a canal, and then I built up a wall around it so it wouldn't keep filling that up. And this one I put in earlier. I just wanted to make a little nice area where there was some residential around a pond. So I made a deep hole here and dug a canal to it. In this case, I just lowered the dirt. I didn't use the canal tool. And it makes a nice kind of quiet residential area that seemed to thrive as soon as I put it in. There's a floating cafe in there also. So anyway, my city is now at 350,000 population, and I've still got, as you can see, quite a bit of room to grow things. And that's how I dealt with the flooding and reverse river flow in this large city.